India, a land of vibrant colors, intoxicating aromas, and a history that stretches back millennia. To journey through India's past is to traverse the corridors of an ancient palace, each turn revealing a new marvel. From the snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas to the sun-drenched shores of the Indian Ocean, the Indian subcontinent has been a cradle of human civilization. For thousands of years, it has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the birth of religions, and the flourishing of art, culture, and philosophy. The story of India is not a linear narrative, but rather a complex tapestry woven from countless threads. It is a story that continues to unfold today, as India asserts its place as a global power, its ancient wisdom intertwined with modern aspirations. Our journey begins in the Indus Valley over 5,000 years ago. Here, amidst the fertile plains of what is now Pakistan and northwest India, flourished one of the world's earliest urban civilizations. The discovery of the cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro in the early 20th century provided a glimpse into a lost world of astonishing sophistication. These meticulously planned cities, with their grid-like streets, multi-storied houses, and elaborate public baths, spoke of a civilization that valued order, hygiene, and communal living. Yet, despite their advancements, the Indus civilization remains shrouded in mystery. As the Indus civilization faded into the mists of time, a new chapter unfolded in Indian history, the Vedic period. Named after the Vedas, a collection of sacred hymns, prayers, and rituals, this era witnessed the emergence of Hinduism, a religion that would profoundly shape the spiritual and cultural landscape of India.
The Aryans, a pastoral people from Central Asia, are believed to have entered India around 1500 BCE. They brought with them their language, Sanskrit, which would become the sacred language of Hinduism, and their religious beliefs, which formed the basis of the Vedic religion. The Vedic period was a time of great intellectual ferment, as sages and philosophers grappled with fundamental questions about the nature of reality, the meaning of life, and the path to liberation.
The Indus River Valley, a cradle of civilization, rivaling Mesopotamia and Egypt in its antiquity. Here, in the 3rd millennium BCE, a remarkable people built cities of astounding sophistication. Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, names that echo through time, whispering of a lost world. These cities were marvels of urban planning, laid out in a grid pattern with wide streets, sophisticated drainage systems, and public baths. Houses, some 2 stories high, were built with standardized bricks, baked in kilns. The Indus people were artisans and traders, their reach extending far beyond the Indus Valley. Evidence suggests trade links with Mesopotamia, perhaps even Egypt. Yet despite decades of study, the Indus people remain an enigma. One of the most enduring mysteries of the Indus civilization is its script. Found on seals, pottery, and other artifacts, these enigmatic symbols have tantalized scholars for decades. Despite numerous attempts, the Indus script remains undeciphered. Without a Rosetta Stone, the language of the Indus people remains lost to us. The script stands as a stark reminder of the vastness of time and the fragility of knowledge. The Indus civilization flourished for over 1,000 years, a testament to its resilience and adaptability. Yet, around 1900 BCE, it began to decline. The reasons remain unclear. Climate change? Invasion? Internal strife? The answer remains elusive. By 1700 BCE, the great cities were abandoned, left to crumble into dust. The legacy of the Indus people lived on in later Indian cultures, in their urban planning, their crafts, perhaps even in their religious beliefs. The Indus may be gone, but their story, like the timeless flow of the river that gave them life, continues to flow through the ages. As the Indus cities crumbled, a new chapter began in India's long history. From the northwest, a pastoral people arrived, bringing with them their language, their customs, and their gods. These were the Aryans, and their coming marked the dawn of the Vedic period. The Aryans were a pastoral people, and their lives revolved around their cattle. They lived in villages, ruled by chiefs who commanded their loyalty in times of war. Family and kinship were paramount, and social hierarchies began to emerge. Ritual sacrifice was central to Vedic life, with offerings made to appease the gods and secure their favor. Life in Vedic India was not all about rituals and sacrifices. Music, dance, and storytelling were popular forms of entertainment. As the centuries passed, the Vedic religion evolved, with new gods emerging and philosophical ideas about karma, reincarnation, and moksha taking shape.
Out of the Vedic worldview emerged one of the most enduring concepts in Indian thought, dharma. Often translated as duty, righteousness, or cosmic order, dharma encompasses a wide range of ethical and social obligations. For individuals, dharma meant fulfilling one's duty according to one's caste and stage of life. For rulers, it meant governing justly and protecting their subjects. The concept of dharma became a cornerstone of Hinduism, providing a moral framework for society and shaping the Indian worldview for millennia to come.
By the 6th century BCE, the Indian subcontinent, a patchwork of kingdoms and republics, was ripe for unification. From this fertile ground rose a dynasty that would leave an indelible mark on India's history, the Mauryans. Chandragupta Maurya, a visionary leader of humble origins, challenged the powerful Nanda dynasty in the north. With his cunning advisor Chanakya, he forged a formidable army and, in a remarkable feat, conquered most of the Indian subcontinent, establishing the Mauryan Empire. Chandragupta's empire was vast, stretching from the Arabian Sea to the Bay of Bengal. His reign saw the construction of roads, irrigation canals, and granaries, boosting trade and agriculture. Ashoka, the emperor who turned from war. Chandragupta's grandson, Ashoka, ascended the throne and inherited a vast and powerful empire.
His early reign was marked by military campaigns, including the brutal conquest of Kalinga, a kingdom on the eastern coast. But the horrors of war, the bloodshed and suffering deeply affected Ashoka.
In a profound transformation, he renounced violence and embraced Buddhism, becoming a devout follower of its teachings of peace, compassion, and non-violence. Golden Age on the Ganges, the Gupta dynasty. After the decline of the Mauryan Empire, a new power rose in the Gangetic plains. The Gupta dynasty, though not as expansive as the Mauryans, ushered in a period of unprecedented prosperity, cultural efflorescence, and intellectual achievement, often hailed as India's Golden Age. Under the rule of emperors like Chandragupta and Samudragupta, the Gupta Empire flourished. The Guptas were patrons of art, literature, and science, and their reign witnessed a flowering of creativity in all these fields. Enduring legacy, art, science, and the power of ideas. The Gupta period left behind a rich legacy of art and architecture. Temples, adorned with intricate carvings and sculptures, dotted the landscape, showcasing the architectural brilliance of the era. The Ajanta and Ellora caves, with their stunning murals and sculptures, stand as testaments to the artistic genius of Gupta artists. Their patronage of scholars and universities helped spread knowledge and learning far and wide. The Gupta era saw the flourishing of philosophical thought, with scholars debating complex ideas about logic, metaphysics, and epistemology. As the Gupta Golden Age faded, India, once more, became a mosaic of kingdoms, each vying for power. Into this fragmented landscape rode a new force, descendants of Genghis Khan, bringing with them a blend of Central Asian military prowess and a taste for Persianate culture. These were the Mughals. Babur, a descendant of Timur, laid the foundation for the Mughal Empire in 1526, defeating the Lodi dynasty at the First Battle of Panipat. A fierce warrior and a shrewd strategist, Babur's victory marked the beginning of a new era in Indian history. They brought with them a new style of architecture, heavily influenced by Persian and Islamic traditions. Akbar, Babur's grandson, ascended the throne at the tender age of 13. A military genius and a visionary ruler, Akbar transformed the Mughal Empire, expanding its borders and laying the foundation for a truly multicultural realm. Recognizing the importance of religious harmony in his diverse empire, Akbar adopted a policy of sulh-i-kul, meaning universal peace. He abolished the jizya tax on non-Muslims, appointed Hindus to high positions in his court, and actively engaged in dialogues with scholars from different faiths. Under Akbar's patronage, art, literature, and architecture flourished, marking a high point in Mughal history. Akbar's successors, Jahangir and Shah Jahan, continued his legacy of cultural patronage and imperial expansion. Jahangir, a connoisseur of art, commissioned exquisite miniature paintings and built magnificent gardens. Shah Jahan, driven by grief over the death of his beloved wife Mumtaz Mahal, created one of the world's most iconic monuments, the Taj Mahal. This breathtaking mausoleum, built entirely of white marble and adorned with intricate carvings and precious stones, stands as a testament to Mughal architectural genius and the power of love.
However, the Mughal Empire faced challenges. Aurangzeb, Shah Jahan's son, reversed Akbar's policies of religious tolerance, reimposing the jizya tax and persecuting Hindus. His reign saw revolts and rebellions, weakening the empire from within. Aurangzeb's successors faced a rising tide of external threats, including the Marathas in the south and the Sikhs in the northwest. The Mughal Empire, once a symbol of power and grandeur, gradually declined, paving the way for new players to emerge on the Indian stage.
The Mughal era, spanning over 3 centuries, left an enduring legacy on India. As the Mughal Empire faltered, a new power, cloaked in the guise of trade, began to assert its dominance, the British East India Company.
Arriving on India's shores in the 17th century, the company, initially focused on commerce, gradually expanded its influence, exploiting the political fragmentation and leveraging its military superiority.
The company's tactics were shrewd. They played rival Indian rulers against each other, securing trading concessions and slowly but surely establishing their own enclaves of power.
Their army, comprising Indian sepoys trained and armed along European lines, proved formidable, securing victory after victory.
The Battle of Plassey in 1757 proved to be a turning point. Robert Clive, a young and ambitious company officer, outmaneuvered the Nawab of Bengal, gaining control of the wealthy province.
This victory marked a significant shift in power, establishing the company as a major force in Indian politics.
From its base in Calcutta, the company's influence spread like tendrils, wrapping around the subcontinent. They established a system of indirect rule, propping up puppet rulers while asserting their own economic and political control. By the mid-19th century, the British Crown, realizing the vast potential of its Indian possession, formally took over the reins from the East India Company, ushering in the era of the British Raj.
India, with its vast resources and teeming population, became the jewel in the crown of the British Empire.
The British administration, though efficient, was often insensitive to the needs and aspirations of the Indian people. They introduced policies that benefited British industries at the expense of Indian artisans and farmers.
Western education was promoted, but it often came at the cost of traditional learning and cultural values.
However, British rule also brought about significant changes. They introduced railways, postal services, and telegraph lines, modernizing India's infrastructure. Legal reforms were introduced, and efforts were made to abolish social evils like sati.
The British presence, however, was met with resistance from the very beginning. Local uprisings, often led by dispossessed rulers or religious leaders, challenged British authority.
These acts of defiance, though often crushed brutally, kept the flame of resistance alive. The seeds of Indian nationalism were sown in the fertile ground of resentment against British rule.
Educated Indians exposed to Western ideals began to question British rule.
The Indian National Congress, founded in 1885, emerged as a platform for nationalist aspirations. Initially moderate, the Congress became more assertive in its calls for self-rule.
The early 20th century witnessed a surge in nationalist sentiment. The partition of Bengal in 1905 sparked widespread protests.
The First World War further fueled the demand for independence.
The arrival of Mahatma Gandhi transformed the Indian independence movement. Gandhi's philosophy of non-violent resistance mobilized millions.
This relentless struggle culminated in India's independence in 1947, August 15, 1947. A date etched in history, marking the end of colonial rule and the birth of India. As the Union Jack was lowered and the Indian tricolour rose, jubilations swept the subcontinent. Millions dreamt of this moment, symbolizing hope and freedom. But independence came at a price. The partition of India and Pakistan led to mass migrations and violence. Amidst euphoria and trauma, India began a new chapter. Nehru, influenced by democracy and socialism, shaped a new India from colonial ashes. Nehru's vision for India was clear: a modern, secular, and socialist state committed to democracy and social justice. He laid the foundation for a planned economy, investing in infrastructure, industry, and education. His government implemented land reforms to empower the rural poor. Nehru promoted scientific research and established institutions of higher learning. He adopted a policy of non-alignment, advocating for peace and cooperation.
Nehru's legacy is mixed. His emphasis on heavy industry led to bureaucratic bottlenecks. His socialist policies often failed to address poverty. Despite shortcomings, Nehru's contributions to modern India are significant.
The decades following Nehru's death in 1964 witnessed a period of political instability and economic challenges. India faced internal conflicts, political assassinations, and the rise of religious fundamentalism. Economic growth remained sluggish, and poverty, despite some progress, remained a persistent problem. The late 20th century saw India embark on a path of economic liberalization, dismantling the shackles of the license Raj and embracing market-oriented reforms. The Indian economy, once sluggish and inward-looking, began to open up to the world, attracting foreign investment and integrating itself into the global economy.
This period also witnessed the rise of India's information technology sector, fueled by a young and educated workforce, and the increasing globalization of the software industry. Indian software engineers and entrepreneurs made their mark on the world stage, establishing India as a global IT powerhouse. India's economic transformation has been remarkable, lifting millions out of poverty and propelling it into the ranks of the world's fastest-growing economies. Yet, challenges remain. Income inequality is widening, and access to education, healthcare, and basic services remains uneven, particularly in rural areas.
As India enters the 21st century, it does so with a renewed sense of confidence and purpose. Its economic growth and military might have propelled it onto the world stage. India is actively shaping the global agenda on issues ranging from climate change to trade. Its growing partnerships reflect its global influence.
India's journey from an ancient civilization to a modern nation-state has been long and arduous. Yet, through it all, India has endured, its spirit unbroken. India's story is far from over.